Ever wondered what would happen if all the continents decided to have a reunion? Well, to understand this, let's first dive into the past. Around 300 million years ago, our planet looked very different. All of the continents were united into one massive supercontinent known as Pangaea. But Pangaea didn't stick around forever. Over millions of years, this landmass broke apart due to the process of continental drift, which is driven by the movement of tectonic plates beneath the Earth's crust. This continental drift has shaped the world as we know it today, with our 7 continents and countless islands. The drift isn't a thing of the past, though. Believe it or not, continents are still slowly moving, even as you're listening to this. They're not static, they're dynamic, continuously shaping and reshaping our planet. Now imagine if the clock started to reverse, and the continents began to come back together. So, what happens when the continents decide to come back together? You might have heard of continental drift, but have you ever thought about its flip side? The reunion of landmasses is not a simple gathering. It's an event that would fundamentally reshape our planet. Let's start with the ground beneath our feet. As the continents move towards each other, the Earth's crust would be subjected to immense pressure. This would trigger an increase in seismic activity, leading to more frequent and potentially more powerful earthquakes. And where there are earthquakes, there are often volcanoes. The subduction of one continental plate beneath another could lead to a surge in volcanic activity, with new volcanoes springing up along the collision zones. But the Earth's crust doesn't just crumble under pressure, it folds and buckles, giving rise to towering mountain ranges. The Himalayas, for instance, are the product of the Indian subcontinent crashing into Asia millions of years ago. Imagine then the scale of the mountain ranges that might be formed by the reunion of all the continents. And it's not just about mountains. The shifting land masses could also create new valleys, plateaus, and basins. The landscape of the Earth as we know it would be completely transformed, with old geographical features disappearing and new ones taking their place. The formation of a new supercontinent is a possibility too. Picture this: a single vast landmass, perhaps even larger than the ancient supercontinent of Pangaea. This new landmass would be a patchwork of all the continents, each one leaving its unique geological fingerprint on the resulting supercontinent. But the Earth doesn't stop at the shore. The oceans, covering more than 70% of our planet's surface, would also be impacted by this grand reunion. The continent's movement would reshape the ocean floors, altering currents and tides, and potentially even changing the very chemistry of the seas. But it's not just the land that would change. The oceans would undergo a transformation too. Imagine the world's oceans converging into one. Can you fathom the implications? As continents reunite, the vast bodies of water that we call oceans would also undergo a dramatic shift. Ocean currents, those giant conveyor belts of the sea, would be disrupted, altering the way heat and nutrients are transported around the globe. This could lead to significant changes in global climate, potentially causing extreme weather conditions more frequently and more unpredictably. Now let's dive deeper. Imagine all the world's oceans merging into one colossal ocean. An ocean so massive it surrounds the newly formed supercontinent. This single gigantic body of water would be unlike anything we've known in our time. But what does this mean for marine life? For starters, it would mean a redistribution of marine species. Creatures adapted to specific oceanic conditions may struggle, while others may thrive in the new environment. This could lead to changes in the food chain, with unforeseen consequences for both marine and land animals. And let's not forget the impact on human life. Our societies depend heavily on the oceans, not just for food, but also for commerce and travel. A single massive ocean could drastically alter these human activities. While the land and seas transform, life on Earth would also face significant challenges. How would life adapt to such a monumental shift in the world's geography? Imagine the continents, once scattered across the globe, now suddenly back together. The Earth's climate and habitats would undergo enormous changes, and both humans and animals would have to adapt. First, let's talk about biodiversity. A supercontinent would mean the merging of multiple ecosystems. Animals accustomed to certain climates might struggle to survive in new weather conditions. Polar bears from the Arctic, for instance, could find themselves in tropical climates. Similarly, flora from diverse environments would either need to adapt or face extinction. The result? A potential reshuffling of the world's biodiversity. Now let's consider humans. Our cities, infrastructure, and ways of life are all built around the current geographical layout. Coastal cities may find themselves landlocked. while others could be thrust onto the shores of a new vast ocean. Agricultural practices would need to morph to accommodate new climates and soil types, trade routes would be redrawn, and the global economy could be thrown into upheaval. Yet, it's not all doom and gloom. Humans are remarkably resilient. We might see the rise of innovative technologies, new forms of architecture, and adaptive agricultural practices, and who knows? This upheaval might even lead to greater unity among nations, as we'd all be literally in the same boat navigating this new world together. Such a world might sound like the stuff of science fiction, but it's a fascinating concept to ponder. In the grand scheme of things, the reunion of continents would be a game changer. Imagine the world as we know it, undergoing colossal geological transformations. Mountain ranges would rise where there were once oceans, and new land bridges could connect previously isolated regions. This seismic shift would not stop at the Earth's crust. Our climate would undergo drastic changes as well. The ocean currents that regulate our weather patterns would be disrupted, perhaps making some regions more arid, others more humid. What about the world's biodiversity? Well, this could go two ways. On one hand, species could gain access to new habitats and food sources. On the other hand, some might not adapt quickly enough, leading to mass extinctions. So this is not just about geography. This is about the reshaping of life as we know it. In the end, a reunion of continents would not only change the face of the Earth, but also the way we live and perceive our...
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. That's all for Nifty Narrations.